Good day, everybody. I am Pastor Kelvin Sauls. Welcome to Faith Without Borders. We are soaring into 2024 with a new series that we're going to be checking on with and checking in with occasionally called Brothers Be Talking. Now, as you know, here at Faith Without Borders, we seek to hold space for provocative and progressive conversations. We seek to be both solutionary as well as informative in what we're talking about, how we talk about it, and also who we have as guests. And so I'm very excited today, to have some brothers with me. We've been hanging out around the color purple, and so you're going to hear from them in a few minutes. But just to share how we got here, it was basically, realizing that when, the movie was promoted, we realized that there were no men that was part of the promotion. And as we were, as I went to see, the movie, and that was mentioned, I have to say it was mentioned by Anetta. I then just made a note saying, okay, we may have to create space, and that's how this series came about, to really see how we can, bring into the forefront the voices of, brothers on the one hand, but also on the other hand, to invite, some voice and visibility in terms of opinions around, whatever the issue might be. In this case, the color purple. It's a classic movie, but I do believe it has some contemporary messages, for us to explore, to look into. And for me, just like every movie, it's being presented for us to check it out and to see how it can provide us with a port of entry to get into whatever the issues are, whatever the challenges are, and then to see how we can be solutionary with it, strategic with it, but most importantly, truthful with it, as we seek to deal with whatever issues, are we going to be dealing with. Well, that's what we're going to do today. So welcome to Faith Without Borders presents Brothers Be Talking. And I'm glad to have some brothers with me. We went to see the movie together, and you'll see some images of us hanging out at LA Live throughout the show today. We had a ball, we had a blast, we had a good time, learned a lot from each other, and I'm just glad that they were available to join us for this conversation. And so we're going to just kick it right off. I'm going to invite them to introduce themselves, and then we're just gonna jump into it and just see where this conversation goes, because when brothers be talking, you just don't know what's going to happen. All right. So welcome, brothers. Good to see you all. I'm going to ask each one of you to introduce yourselves. Welcome to Faith Without Borders. Yeah. We are here in Leimert Park, at Morris Media Studios. Glad to be here. And this is the perfect place to have this, profound and provocative, conversation. So I'm going to ask each one of you just to, introduce yourselves, and then we're going to take it from there. All right.
I got the intro stuck in my head, so sorry if I'm being entire time. Hello, my name is Kai. I'm just a humble little writer boy. Glad to be here, talk about black stuff and color purple and all that nice good things. And I'm glad to be here, as always.
All right.
All right. My name is Emery. Also very glad to be here. Super appreciative of the invite when we got invited to see the color purple. I was excited that it was a dinner and a movie. Stop playing, I was excited about that. It didn't matter what it was. I was like, I'm down. You know what I mean?
Emphasis on the dinner party.
You feel me? So I was super excited. Like I said, my name is Emery. Grew up right in this area, sweet old Leimert Park, right around the corner. I've been around here so long that I was arguing with Siri on the way over here. And she was trying to tell me to go places that I knew I shouldn't go. So,
are you disobeying your robotic overlord?
I'm just saying, I knew all the shortcuts because I knew exactly how to get here, and you were the one who got lost. Let's be real.
Okay, that this is about me. This is about you and Siri, not me, you and Siri.
I guess, bro.
You know me for 20 some years. I'm better directions.
So y'all can see, you know, what went down when we went to Fixins at LA Live, you know, in terms of what went down there. But good. I'm glad you're here, and seeing that you from, you know, Leimert Park. Look, Siri ain't got nothing on you because you here before Siri, right? Okay.
I was here 10 minutes before Siri said be right.
I can't say nothing. I got lost. So.
All right.
My name is Dwayne. Very grateful to be in this space. You know, it's really, really different. Never been in a podcast, studio before. I gotta say, I was kind of excited. I didn't know what to expect when going to the movie. You know, really good vibes. You know, this guy bringing the laughs. This guy also too, pretty cool.
Sir.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what we're about to do. Yeah.
Yes, this is great. And then we have some folks joining us online via Zoom. So we're gonna invite them to introduce themselves. Let's start with I'm gonna say N, and then he'll say his full name for us. So go right ahead, brother.
Oh, jeez.
Nathaniel. Hello, everyone. My name is Nathaniel Patterson. Tuning in over here. I'm in the Valley. I couldn't make it down over to Leimert Park in time. But I couldn't miss this, just like I couldn't miss the meal. Kidding. Couldn't miss the opportunity to bond over the color purple. And, you know, with this crew, so many personalities in this crew, but all of those personalities came silent when the meal came. That's all I know.
Wow, it was so quiet when that food came out.
we was digging into that food.
All I can tell you, people, from personal review, get the purple drink. Get the purple.
Get the purple drink.
We should have got some of that purple. We should have had some purple.
We should have had some purple drinks tonight, right?
We should have came purple suited up, purple drink, everything. Next time.
Next time.
For sure.
So you know, we went to see the movie, and of course, you know, they rave about the meal. We gotta say we went to Fixins, and so the food was delicious. So shout out to Fixins, and they hosted us royally.
Man.
You know, I mean, we had a great time up in there. We were dancing, you know, to the Afro beats.
To
no wait time, y'all.
No wait. Just saying, you make sure you get the reservations.
Those people are still salty.
How
are these people coming here for
these
us?
people, right.
Here for like an hour.
So here we are. We want to just you know, share some thoughts, and I wanted to start off. You know, I mentioned one reason how we got here is because, you know, it was mentioned that during the promotion of the movie, there weren't any men, so we wanted to bring the voices of men in here, you know, but also, you know, I got word, you know, through the grapevine, you know, some kind of, you know, I got my folk on the street, you know, checking out stuff that some of these guys didn't want to go and see the movie for whatever reason. So, what we're going to talk, you know, about today, probably we've talked about before, so I'm just going to go there and just, you know, I'm going to start with Emery, all right? Why didn't you want to go and see, you know, The Color Purple?
So this is my most, like, this is the question I related to the most because, like I told you, it was The Color. It was no matter what movie. We could have been going to go stare at rocks. You said we going to Fixins afterwards. I was happy to do so, but I was kind of nervous and hesitant to watch The Color Purple because, you know, there are certain aspects. There are certain things that movie, like the original movie. Let me talk for the original movie because the original movie and this new rendition is completely different. Yeah. So I've heard. I actually, to be honest, I've never seen the original movie. I'm low key scared because, like, I'm just scared to see black men portrayed that way. That was my original thing. But it's like after watching the movie, actually sitting there and digest it and kind of like, it's kind of like swallowing your medicine, swallowing your pride. I actually understand completely why now, you know. I was definitely like very hesitant to go watch that movie just because you don't want to see people that look like you, black men that look like you doing all sorts of, horrible things. And it's like, but that's just how life was back then. And it was just scary to watch. It was just, it was just scary to really like want to dip my toe into, you know what I mean? So, but I'm glad that I made that jump because my whole perspective on it has changed. My whole perspective on it has changed. And if you want, I could sit here for an hour talking about it, but
Right.
I will just say that I was scared to watch it because I didn't want to see us portrayed like that, and I think that's something that a lot of men connect with, and that's something that, a lot of men, the reason why a lot of men didn't want to watch it. And maybe because it was also because it was a musical too. And it's like, I'm not going to watch no musical. But,
Right.
But that was one of the biggest reasons why I was not too big into going to go watch The Color Purple. But like I said, Pastor Sauls said, we'll get to go to Fixins afterward. I was like that.
Now you know how to get them to do something right. Just feed them. Yeah.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
part of that is, the lesson in that is, we all are fearful sometimes of certain things, right? Don't let your fear paralyze you, right? Let your fear mobilize you. Go for the rare, go for something new, and you'll be amazed at what you will experience when you do that. And that's what, we experienced when we went to see the movie together. The conversation afterwards was just, off the chain, and that's why we're bringing it to you here. I want to move quickly, to, what surprised you, in the movie. I'm going to ask, Kai to kick that one off, and then we're going to go to Nathaniel and then to Dwayne. What surprised you, Kai, in The
biggest
Color
surprise was- I gotta remember the food. The food was distracting. What surprised me the most was the level of forgiveness by the end of the movie, especially given how much damage mentally, physically was done to her. As we all talked about, like the Mr. was the true quote, not even quote unquote, he was the villain.
He was the villain.
He was the villain.
Absolute
had his
menace
pipe.
to society.
A scene in the movie, bro. It was raining. Had a pipe and a banjo.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Villains, like, one, why would you have pipe in the rain? It's like, but no, like, to have a whole banjo strumming along, smiling, evilly
Zooming
smile.
was crazy.
Oh, exactly. You're right. Exactly.
Crazy.
No, that the amount of forgiveness that she was able to give was the biggest surprise, but then also it was a nice touch.
So forgiveness, especially the forgiveness that Celie extended, to Mr. Nathaniel. You want to say a little bit about, what surprised you, most
Yeah.
in The Color Purple?
100% definitely the forgiveness aspect. I often find it hard to forgive. I have a history of holding grudges. Another piece was definitely the control that Celine had in moments in which she had the opportunity to lash out. And just seeing the control she had when she said, I think we should just be friends. Like that took a lot of control, self-restraint, growth, and I aspire to have said growth when being confronted in these type of, traumatic or I don't know how to react type of events. That display of emotional control was crazy.
Man.
Yeah. So forgiveness doesn't mean that you, have to stay in a situation, or it doesn't mean that you have to go back in a situation, right? And when you talked about, Celie saying, let us just be friends, or let us be just friends. She had a certain way of saying it. She actually reached out, right, with her hand and touched his heart. Is that right? So that was very, very powerful in terms of how she was even saying, let us just be friends.
I'm
I
telling
don't
you.
think even touching him was like a brave point too, because you
Yeah.
want to touch the person who abused you.
Because of how he used to touch her, right?
Yeah, like
Right.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that we talked about a lot during our, our conversation after the movie is like we all talked about forgiveness the most. And like for me, it's like I was just like really moved by the strength it took for her to not buckle under, like, even just this, because you, after so many years of going through that, because, like, I think we researched she was 14 at the time, you know, it after all those years, for him to see her, for her to see him for the first time, her abuser, for her to not even, like, buckle or, like, show that side of her took a lot of strength. That was one of my biggest surprises, because me as a man, I know for sure if I seen someone who had abused or, you know, took advantage or anything like that, for me personally, it's on sight. You know what I mean? Like, it's I can't explain that enough. Like, but for her, she, like, had such emotional control. Like Nathaniel was saying, she didn't buckle. She didn't even get mad. Like y'all said, like she said, let's just be friends. That's crazy. That takes a lot of emotional strength, a lot of spiritual strength, you know, a lot of physical strength too, you know.
Certainly a lot of self-control and discipline there. Dwayne, any surprises that you want to lift up?
What really surprised me that when the white lady, you know, with Danielle, the lady who's in the, she thought she was doing her a favor by getting her out of jail and being a servant. And even though we don't really see, you know, much racism here, as we do in other places in the United States, like, you know, I feel like certain white people would have that same perspective. You know, they're really doing her a favor because of the fight you got into, getting her out of jail. But even though the fight was instigated, it's still kind of, you know, messed up to see that in real time, because that stuff really does happen back then. And I was surprised. I thought, oh, cool, she's getting out of jail. That's awesome. It's like, oh, no, you get to be my servant. I was like, what?
Man.
So that really, I didn't say that triggered me, but I was kind of upset to see about that. That was really a surprise.
And that part was such a, at least for me, that was such like a record scratch.
Yeah,
in
the whole
because
tone
it was
changed up.
Right, because it was a black music. It was granted negative parts, black men being black women singing, people joyful, and then the moment white person comes in,
Whole different movie.
I
got scared.
For the next like 10 minutes, whole different movie.
Man.
Yeah.
I was literally thinking in my head, like, I know she's not going to ask me to be her servant or something. Like, then it's like, oh, yeah, you get to go back to my house. Like, bro, what?
Yeah.
And then the moment she hit her, I was like, yeah. But then I realized, oh, no, that's bad.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Don't do that at all.
In that situation, I would have said no instead of hell no. But still, she shouldn't be treated like that, bro. It's horrible.
Right.
Hell,
Even saying
no.
Even saying no would have got her. It's think
Crazy,
about it.
man.
Right.
Yeah, but you're absolutely correct.
So I mean, you're right about that, because it shows the era that we are in terms of what was. I mean, we were all basically zooming in and focusing on what was happening between these various black families. Yet, you know, once the mayor's wife enters, right, and she basically, you know, she's a catalyst to what ended up, you know, basically, you know, the incarceration, you know, aspect. It then reminds us that there's another system that's operating here, right? And we want to talk about that system at some point in terms of how it contributes, you know, to how then, you know, we, you know, as black folk interact with each other just because of the breaking that system, you know, creates and facilitates.
Yeah, once he said mayor's wife, I was like, fuck.
I'm telling you, it was a rap. I was like, wow, you're dead.
I almost forgot the whole villain. Almost forgot the two villains at first.
Hey, then
Right.
Mr. started looking.
Different movie. Like, that was wild.
Mr. Who? I'm saying the mayor's wife is the villain. Like,
That's crazy.
and
Right.
like even when she came back, like when you talked about her like giving her the job, like you just rubbing it in at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, yo, I'm doing her a favor. You come help me. Like you got me out okay.
I'm sure that
And
was
she
like
rushed her when she got out.
Yeah.
She was rushing, like you got to see that 2-minute clip, not even 2 minutes, of them like giving her the clothes and everything like that, saying glad to be out, and then boom. All right, hurry up and get in the car.
That's right.
I got stuff for you to do.
You got to come work for me.
Clean and feed my kids, clean my house, wash the car, and then yada yada yada. Then you live free and you feed you. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Not like reborn against slavery. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this film just had so many themes, right? And of course, some very difficult, that we had to face then, and in so many ways we still have to face today. Some people, were saying out there that, one of the reasons they didn't like the movie, didn't want to go and see it, is because it was airing dirty laundry, right? And I mean, everybody has a right to their opinion. But I mean, this was just a profoundly powerful and truthful, novel written, by the great Alice Walker, and it was basically in a literary way, basically giving insight and hopefully eyesight, right, to what was happening, with black folk during that era of Reconstruction, and how there was a constant pushback, against that Reconstruction, post post enslavement, or post human trafficking, as some folk now would wanna name it. What theme for you, right, stood out the most, and who was the person driving that particular theme, that you've seen? Because I mean, there's the relationship between when they were young, right, with their stepfather, right? There are some themes coming out of that, right? Of course, then Mister enters the scene. Some themes coming out, out of that. So just what theme or themes for you, and who was, kind of the central person in portraying that particular theme?
No, because you want to steal mine. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
Because
Let me tell you something.
I doubt
my
I'm gonna
thing is
steal it.
this. Okay, so like I'm also piggyback because like how you said, like people didn't watch it because they don't want to see people portrayed like that. They don't want to see that dirty laundry get aired out. But the thing that I also really liked about this movie was that they didn't just show like bad black men. It was not just people just it wasn't just directed or filmed just to bash the image of black men. It was not like that. They showed one side of black men. That was a true era. That's something that happened. That was a lived experience of women for a long time. Men, I mean, and we're all equal. Like even like white, black. Men have not always been nice to women. You feel me? And that's just the story that they tell in this The Color Purple. Men have not always been nice to women. That's just the cut of it. But there's not always only been bad black men. So my favorite theme, my favorite part of the story is that they showed Mr. Son took a completely different path. When with Sophia.
Facts.
And it's like when even he saw what his father was doing to his stepmother, which is Celia. He saw that, but he didn't do that. Like that's not something that he did. He was also confused because Sophia was whooping his butt. You know what I mean? So it showed a whole different perspective.
Whooping his butt is an understatement.
Yo,
dude.
big old knot on bro's cranium. It was
She
crazy.
was knocking heads.
That was the honeymoon, right?
That was wild. Like, and I was looking, I was like, yes, they're showing like at least it's not like, well, and it's like, even if it was like, it shouldn't be like, oh well, I don't know. It's just kind of complicated, but definitely, I'm glad they showed another perspective. And not only did they show, it's not like I'm excited, like, oh yeah, Sophia was whooping his butt, but I mean like, even though he could have retaliated or he didn't retaliate, even though that's what he saw his whole life, and better yet, even though he built his woman a house with his bare hands, like I was so happy to see that they portrayed that. They had a whole music number about building a house for your wife because the mister didn't want her in the home. So I was super excited to see that. I was super happy that they portrayed that, and just all throughout the movie, he was just a good man. From what I remember, at least, I remember there was a thing where he was decent. He was
going back and forth.
Like, yeah, because then he had another wife.
It was
but,
her who you just learned her.
Yeah, it was her. This is so crazy. Like I didn't know.
We were ad fixings, right? Because one of the characters in the movie is her. H-E-R, the musician her. This man here was not T.
I had a genuine Chris Tucker moment. I was like,
He was
wait,
Chris Tucker.
All
Rush
of us
Hour?
were throwing
In
it
Rush
at
Hour.
you.
Who's
Wow.
her?
You believe me?
Wait,
Her?
who's her? And then I was like, it's her.
No, her.
No, but okay, her. But who is she?
H-E-R.
H-E-R, her. You mean her? Yes, her.
It was wild. I did not know who her was, but I was like, yo, her voice sound mad familiar. Even, but they're like, it's because it's her.
Bro,
I'm
had
like,
to
I don't
double
know who y'all
check.
talking about.
Y'all had to rescue him, man,
He
because
had to double
was.
check if she was of age
I had
too.
I had to Google her.
I
It was wild.
had to Google.
I had to Google her, and then I got like grammar stuff, and then I had to put H.E.R.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's how you Google
Crazy.
her.
But
Right.
piggybacking on like Sophia, who I liked her, who won.
Shout out to Sophia.
Sophia,
Man.
best character. Swear.
Best character.
But
Best
we're not
Sophia.
gonna
Okay.
like at the end of the song. She was like, "Give me that hair, let me fish the house."
Sophia was scary.
Sophia was in my opinion, she represented the theme of like rebellion or like not fitting the mold of like the normal woman of the movie.
Or just strong woman.
A
right?
strong-willed woman who, in honesty, some of us can't handle, some of us can.
Oh,
it took his son almost the entire movie. Be like, you know what? Let me just. It took him the entire movie because bro's get his ass beat, and then he went around and was like, nah.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I love this woman.
That's right.
She's just a lot, and
She's a lot.
I gotta, and he did it. But no, Sophia did her shit from the song to she had help getting past the whole mayor's wife.
Yeah.
To even at the end of the movie when Celie was about to stab the hell out of Mister, she was like,
Ooh.
she was like, end the table, both you motherfuckers. I own this house now. I'm changing some shit.
Ooh,
I'm coming up here.
Crazy.
She did
Man.
not stick to no mold. She did her own thing. Even
So,
stand up.
I mean, Sophia raises a lot of themes, right? And you mentioned in terms of just a strong woman, in terms of just even though you're strong, we always will need support. Right? When she was going through that, period, Sophia also represented the theme of, when she did not invite her husband in to help, right? Because that was going to be a whole different scene then if he had gotten involved, right? Okay, and then she says, don't let my children see this.
Yeah.
Right, in terms of, so just a lot of themes, in there that we need to just be aware of in terms of how it played out then, and then how it also plays out now in terms of, when black men steps up and step in, I think they will help many ways, then that help sometimes gets seen as a threat, right? In terms of that. Dwayne, for you, themes.
One of the biggest themes was neglect, like we were talking about at the table. It's really different seeing that movie. A lot of those women didn't really have rights back in the 900s and stuff like that, or 1900s. So it's really seeing like some of the abuse that took place. Because since they didn't have rights, a lot of that stuff actually happened. Like, I know it still happens today, but it happened a lot more back then. So that was actually not, I don't know if I wasn't there, so I don't know if it was common, but it's interesting to see, films like that advocate for women's rights, because we don't get a lot of stuff like that. And I know we always talk about racism and stuff, but it's cool to, have a film talk about the relationships we have with each other, specifically black men and black women.
Yes.
And show some of the problems that are right there, I feel like since we're talking about racism, we should also try to work on the relationship with black men and black women as well as relationships with other races as white people.
Yeah, absolutely. We were dealing with abuse that was systemic.
Yeah.
And abuse that was also interpersonal, right? Issues of sexism. Remember when Sophia walked into the ale house, right?
Yeah.
And the owner, whoever it was, asked her, "Can you read?" And then she said, "What did she say? I read what I."
I read what I want.
I read what I want, right?
I think what it is like, I think when it comes to these kind of movies, I think we feel the same type of discomfort that like white people probably feel when they are looking at like a slave movie, like when they're watching 12 Years a Slave, and it's like,
Yeah, y'all did that. We did that. We did that. That's why. You say that's
crazy.
Because when you said the dirty laundry part, and when you said the relationship between black men and black women, that's probably some dirty laundry that people don't want to talk about, because that is as much as I know we all see it on TikTok, social media, like that is a prominent thing here. The relationship between black women and black men is so like all over the place, from very good to very negative.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also, wait,
Be-
to add to what I was saying, though, my apologies, but I don't want white people to feel uncomfortable watching slave movies, though. Because it's like, but that's just like our story. So just like we shouldn't feel uncomfortable to watch the movie. This is just listen, it's just watch the story. This is how people lived back then. It's not meant to make you uncomfortable. It's just meant to share the story and to improve. You're not going to learn if you don't know the history. You don't realize, if you don't know the history of the problem, you're not going to learn from it,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's how I feel.
The couple white people were looking, oh, thank God we cleared that up.
Right. Let's go to Nathaniel about, Nathaniel, any themes that stood out for you and
Oh yeah,
who-
definitely.
who is
Speaking on like
driving it?
relations between black women and black men, misogynoir is real and it's active. It's a thing. As far another one being like resilience and self-actualization slash purpose. When we have different people in the movie, like their pain doesn't define them, or they're not what they lived through is not what they're stuck to. Even Sophia had gone through abuse before she was this strong woman, and that's an important role. That's an important thing to point out. Celine, at one moment, she had been staying with Shug, but that wasn't going to define her for the rest of her life. The rest of her life wasn't about to be her with Shug. She had this moment where she learned her own purpose. She knew what she loved throughout the entire movie, and she had this now platform to share her passion with the community and whatnot.
Man, I forgot Suge was in the movie.
How can you
How
forget?
could you forget
Wonderful,
Shug?
amazing,
Listen,
beautiful,
how could you
aged
forget
like fine
Shug?
wine.
It's crazy. I
Listen.
forgot that was
Listen.
part of the movie.
How can you forget? She had a whole song.
I don't
She
know.
was drinking whiskey
Yeah.
through her own song.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Right.
Suge was an interesting
Yeah.
character for sure. I didn't think,
Shoot, Avery's
She was
coming to
hilarious.
town.
man.
Shoot,
Love
I didn't
Shug.
realize. I didn't realize she would be such like an important and critical part, especially like her 1st opening theme. She was they was singing, and everybody like the men loved her, the women hated her. But it's like, but also she was like, I didn't know what it was. She was just drinking in her car. She was lit, yo. She was
Yeah,
lit in
yeah,
that
yeah,
car.
yeah.
So I was like, who is this drunk lady coming out?
I mean, I didn't expect it
I
because
didn't think
even
she was
Right.
gonna be like the one to really change the game and get her to realize like, yo, you need to stand up for yourself for real.
Right. Now,
Though it's so important that
she
she
changed
has
the whole
Shug.
atmosphere, man. Remember the buzz?
Yeah.
The weather changed.
Yeah, it's like, what?
when Shook shows up, now you gotta be right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, right and tight, as
Right.
they say, right? But let's pick up on just who she was and the role she played. That begs another question for us around allyship, right? There were several characters in the movie that became critical allies for Celie, right? Name some of them, and how do you think they provided allyship for her, empowerment for her, just reminding her who she was, right? What she's capable of, beginning with her mom, right? But who do you think were some of the folks that provided some serious, some strategic, some real, allyship with her in terms of just encouragement and upliftment?
Well, obviously,
Definitely Nettie.
Yeah.
Because one, she helped her find her sister's letters.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That was like the biggest
That was
part.
major.
The biggest thing is I'm on your side ever. And then and then from even throughout the movie, she said, "I'll be back in a month." Don't know how much a month is to her on that time span, but the thing is, she came back and got her, which was good, which is very good. Yeah. So Suge for one, and then Suge represented I guess freedom for Celie, because Suge was the definition of free, the definition of it. She was she did what she wanted, didn't care what nobody cared. Granted, she wanted her dad to respect it, but she did not give a single shit and just did it and just went.
Even physically too, not even so metaphorically, also physically, Mr. wouldn't even bat her eye at her like that when Suge was around, and you saw it. As
Yeah.
soon as Suge left, the movie changed again. It told different tone, right back to like,
And Sheely actually mentioned it, right? She said, "Mr. Smash nicer when you were around."
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Who were some other allies, Dwayne or Nathaniel, that that in the movie showed up for Celie, as she was just going through this, traumatic, and torturous journey, with Mister. Anyone else that you guys can think of?
I'm trying to think.
I feel like no go.
Who that? Say again.
Squeak definitely. I can't recall what her margarine was it.
I don't remember
It's
either.
just
It's
Squeak.
her.
Just Squeak. Just we'll take Squeak. It was
Well,
Mar-
let's
it
just
was-
go with Squeak.
Yeah.
Squeak.
or her.
I believe, I wholeheartedly believe there could have been a moment in which Salim would have came back. But with the fact that Squeak sacrificed and displayed like this self-worth, like that was, you always need someone who's kind of in the same predicament as you to sort of just amplify your journey. Because Shug had already been self-actualized and everything. Though for Squeak the entire time, Squeak was under the shadow just like Celine. Though the only difference is Squeak was with Mr.'s son. So obviously she wasn't being neglected physically, though emotionally and other forms of neglect was still on Squeak. So bonding over that neglect, I believe over the years when they moved over, both of them coming from the same town and everything, they were just able to bond over that experience.
Yeah. Huh? What role do you guys think her mom played? Remember, her mom was there, of course, at the beginning, but also at the end. When she was trying to figure out, what she has inherited, and trying to figure, okay, what do I do with the shop now? Do you guys remember what role her mom played? In that, and then also maybe her sister too. Anyone?
I think her mom, that helped show her transition to her being independent, inheriting her shop. I know we mentioned at the table too, it's kind of ironic how his business, Mr., was doing profitable, and towards the end, that power of independence was more given to, the main character. So that was pretty interesting to see too. Everything kind of come full circle.
Yeah.
And even like in the beginning where you see the mother teaching her valuable skills, especially back then, like those things was valuable. Like learning how to knit or sew or do those type of things, it played off greatly because at the end of the day, Celie she was in the house, and that was what she spent a lot of her times, it seems like, doing. Like she was it was dropped multiple times. Oh, I'll make your dress. Like she knew what she was doing, because it seemed like she was already making clothes. And as soon as she got that shop, she knew what she wanted to do off of the rip. I doubt it took that much time for her to even realize, I'm about to sell some clothes. This is what my mom taught me to do. I'm about to make clothes. I'm going to make custom clothes and stuff like that. So that was something I really loved, honestly. I really loved. That was like a dream shop, honestly. Like, it was real cool.
Yeah.
You know what I really liked about the end too was when she figured out she had parents that loved her too.
Mm.
It was nice to get that feeling that I feel welcomed and stuff. Like that was
loved the
good part.
I
entire
got a mom,
time.
pa.
Yeah.
I got a mom pa that loves me.
Yeah, let's stick with, go ahead.
No, I was just repeating that quote. Yeah, I got a mom pa that loves me.
Yeah. That's
one.
That's big. That's big. So let's stick with that whole piece. Just the multidimensional abuse that her stepfather foisted on her and her sister, especially her, in terms of just her not being smart, et cetera, et cetera. She had 2 children, right? Okay. Who was the daddy of those children?
The stepfather.
It was the stepfather.
The stepfather. I mean, what kind of abuse is that?
It's a lot. That's
Pedophilia.
Pedophilic, emotional, a lot of mental, because he didn't care about
physical abuse.
Because he didn't care about
Sexual
Celia at all.
abuse.
And obviously he only cared about his sister only in the physical aspects.
Emotional too when the kids are gone.
Yeah. And then and then the kids were given, donated, or sold to somebody else.
They were
And in
sold.
fact, I believe it was a preacher,
Yeah.
right, or a missionary, right?
Oh, they were
Thoughts on that.
the kids were given away, which out of all the things that the guy was doing, like I was like, damn, at least he wasn't killing them kids, you know. It was like
He kept saying like, "This is like for God." I was like, "Oh, this is."
yeah, like that's a scary thing to say.
Yeah, 'cause I'm like,
Don't say I'm
yeah.
giving him to God. Like, relax.
Right,
That's
right,
crazy.
right.
It's such a wild thing to say because I was scared. I was like, yo, he's killing them babies. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Yeah. You mentioned God. I mean, certainly that brings in, where is God in this movie, right? How is God displayed in this movie? I remember the scene at the beginning when they were in church, and Celia was sitting there, and she looked to the cross, right? And they zoomed into the cross, right? And it was the crucifix. And there
Right.
she was sitting. The conversation she had with Shuk when they were walking, in the field, right? And Shuk was talking about the color purple, and she was saying, "Then why is God doing all this stuff to me?"
Yeah.
And Shuk was saying, "Well, ain't God doing that to you? That's men doing
That's
that to you,"
man.
right? Around that. Your thoughts just about how is God manifested in this, and as an extension to that, the church, right? How is the church up in this in so many ways, around that? Any thoughts of any of you around just God, church, religion, and how that played out in the movie?
Well, in the movie, I just wanted to point this out. Like, it was funny because in the church, the whole entire movie, it was they did their best to not have like dirty laundry in it. It was a place of like positivity. Even when her dad died, her stepdad died, the pastor was like, he tried to keep it as cordial as possible. But he was like, I forgot what he said. But he said
He was
something.
like, I don't know if he's going to. I'll be lying if I said he's going to heaven.
But he's going somewhere. But we didn't got to talk about
Quote
it.
in the movie, by the way. Even I was surprised.
That was hilarious.
Even he knew he was.
lying.
Even he knew he was bad. He was like, I ain't gonna insult you in the house.
And Sophie was the one going,
Even when she was trying to talk to her dad, and then she was like, let's not talk about it here. They kept. It was interesting to see that they kept the church as as empowering as possible, kind of.
Is it non-empowering or denial? That in so many ways, that the disempowerment that people sometimes feel about the church is because in so many ways, some Christians, or the church in so many ways, there's just so much denial there, right? I don't know. I mean, just any thoughts from you guys, around that?
Well, sorry, were you about to say something?
No, I was in.
Okay, so I was about to say how like my thing is how like me myself being on my own spiritual journey, really trying to strengthen my relationship with God, trying to really like understand what I want in my like what I want for myself religiously speaking, is understanding like how true it was to say like and how I wish it could have been like stretched out longer, how to understand the difference between God doing something and man. Like when you said like she said that's not God, that's man, that's men doing that. And it sounds kind of crazy when you say that's men doing that, like men get offended like, oh, I'm a man, I didn't do that, but it's just men in general, just human beings are the things that are causing you such heartache, like because we have free will. God made us with free will, so me stabbing this guy right here
I gotta get
is
stabbed.
kind of wild to say. Why God? He stabbed me. Like that's crazy. And it's like I hate to hear like because I was on social media earlier and I was getting so mad because there's this one TikToker who was talking about like, oh, all this stuff about how there's so many bad things that go on in life and why would God allow this type of thing? And it's like, dude, that's not God doing that. That's men. Those are people. That's people operating under their free will to do these terrible things. That's not God. And also, even on a religious aspect, people who say, oh, God gives their toughest battles to their strongest soldiers. Even that's like, dude, that's still not God doing that. Like, you got to understand, like, this is how the world works. We have free will. People do what they want with their free will, and that's just how it comes. Like, it's for you to love God. It comes. Love has not come in chains. Like, for me to love something or love someone, it has to be free. Like, I have to have a choice to do that, or else it's not love. So, I just wanted to really point that out because that's one of my favorite themes that happened in the movie for sure.
Yeah. Anyone else in terms of the role, that how the movie's portraying the role of God, church, religion, from anyone?
Any takers?
So at some point, at some point, I mean, there was the conversation about the fact that God is inside of us, right? You see, and there are so many factors and so many ways, right, that folk will try to, folks say I'll beat the hell out of you, but many ways it's like I'll beat the God out of you, right? Because God has chosen to reside inside each one of us. We are worthy of God residing in us. It's not like we unworthy, right? Right, Mr. saying to Harpo, she ain't worthy of you, right? You see, in terms, speaking of Sophie now, you see, and just the sense of worthiness and unworthiness, right? That do we have to prove our worth and our worthiness?
Yeah.
Well, I think part of the message here about God, church, faith is yes, you are worthy of God's love, right? Not just that, you are the manifestation of God's love because God lives inside of you. In terms of that, right? For us, yeah. Let's switch a little bit. A lot of intersectionality going on here. Around the African American experience, in the United States, and juxtapose that with the African experience on the continent of Africa.
Okay.
You see, when I went to see the play, right, I believe first, and I, as a person who was born and raised in South Africa, didn't necessarily read, right. I heard a lot about it, but I didn't, read it. So I was, it was a deep sense of welcoming for me by Ellis Walker, by making this connection, right? And just how it plays out in terms of what is being shown happening on the continent with colonization, right? And what was happening here around both enslavement, human trafficking, but also Jim Crow and strategies to undermine Reconstruction around that. Talk a little bit about that, in terms of just what that intersect. What was that? How was that for you, and what did you learn out of that?
I think it's so great to always display events as simultaneous events. I believe people create like this mental timeline of how things go down. And like once slaves came over to America, then like nothing with Africa, or they have this picture of Africa sort of just being nothing after certain events happen. But the struggle continues, and there were people constantly battling for the struggle. My initial thought when I saw that is Niger, the French troops just left about a week before the movie.
Right.
After decades and decades. So and that's so important because intersectionality wise, whenever we're talking about the struggle, the ongoing struggle, it's happening all across the planet in the African diaspora every day.
Yeah. And I mean the whole fact about whether you are on the continent dealing with colonization or whether you are here dealing with occupation, right? It's the same empire, right? That we're dealing with, and speaking of just us as black immigrants in the United States, I always say, and I think it was Jesse Jackson who would say, it doesn't matter how you got here, we're now in the same boat, right? And instead of trying to, pull each other down around who's going to sit where on the boat, we got to work together to make sure this boat doesn't become the Titanic, right?
Yeah.
You see, around that. And so this intersectionality piece, it doesn't mean that our experiences are the same, but it's similar, right? Because the roots of those who oppress us, it comes from the same root, right? Yeah. I remember, the first president, of Tanzania, said, right, that the son of a snake is a snake, right? So sometimes we ought not to be that surprised, right, what the descendants, right, of occupiers or the descendants of empires, right, what they do. It's just updated, upgraded ways of the same old, around that. What would be one of two lessons, personal for you or professional or even spiritual, that you would take, from this movie and our time together going to see it? What one or two lessons, would you, apply to your personal or professional or any aspect of your life?
Definitely patience.
Patience. Why?
Because well, for work too, because sometimes people will get on your nerves.
Yes.
We all know when we've had a job, some people will really, you just want to.
I thought you was looking at me. I'm like,
I'm looking at you.
What are you talking about me for?
No, I love you. Because you were in customer service. I'm like, you see, you may want to smack a customer in the face.
I know exactly what you mean.
Exactly.
Preach.
I work at Amazon, so I am a current day slave. So there are times when I have coworkers who I want to smack the dog out of, and I have to apply patience to not do that.
Don't do it.
It's hard.
I know.
It's hard.
Practice
exactly
patience and pursue peace. How about that?
Yeah, definitely.
Speak on it.
It's a hard journey to get there, but
So for you, patience, right?
Patience.
Any other lessons for anyone else that you've learned out of it?
One of the biggest lessons, I remember we were talking about, it was just forgiveness, especially with the main character with Mister at the end and him inviting her to the dinner. Especially how he treated her. I've heard personal stories that's similar to that, and especially like pedophilia and all that stuff that happened. Like I've actually not seen it, but like how it was back in like a long time ago. So her being open and how she was receptive towards the end, that forgiveness, I really can try to take that in my own life, because a lot of people go through a lot of different stuff. So it's actually interesting to see that lesson with that. I remember you even said it too. The whole forgiveness process is not like something that's instantaneous. And the example you gave were like the shootings too. So, learning how the process of forgiveness and throughout the film, because that didn't happen over time. He made the initiative to go to the shop, introduce himself, saying he didn't say he did some bad stuff, but him buying it was like the gesture. So learning that, a process of forgiveness is a very interesting thing I took away from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about that a little bit where, and we said that, forgiveness, the act of forgiveness ushers in a process. I think sometimes we forget that, right?
Yeah.
And the act of forgiveness, does not necessarily, exempt a person from accountability, either. I think sometimes people, forget about that, as well. So forgiveness is very, very difficult, and it's dangerous, you see. But in so many ways, for one's own, sanity and vitality, it is a learned practice, a learned discipline, precept, if you will, for us to to look into. But it sure enough ain't easy.
Yeah.
But it is possible. Yeah. Nathaniel, what lessons would you lift up that you were taking away from this movie?
Definitely community and the importance of uplifting others.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many moments in which so many characters could have turned a blind eye or stayed quiet, though the whole point, the act of leading by example, not just leading by example, though offering words and comforting at those whole things, playing that role in someone's life is an important factor of community. Because if you're not actively doing so, then it's not truly community. If you're not their pain being your pain or things of that nature. Yeah, that was my whole thought
Mm-hmm.
process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Emery, any thoughts about what you've
Well,
learned?
definitely without question that this whole movie was just one big bundle of life lessons. A lot of everything, a lot of the themes were just life lessons on its own. My biggest takeaway is to make sure that I'm always open minded about coming to this kind of experience, or open minded or unafraid of being uncomfortable. Like I said, I was incredibly like intimidated by this movie. The thought of like going to go watch this, that's not something that I wanted to see, but I did it anyway. And as much as I want to say it was because the fixins, it really wasn't. I was genuinely like, I was not excited to see the movie, but I mean like I was genuinely starting to be like, well, it's free. I'll go watch it. Fine. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens. And I really appreciate that I opened up to come and watch this movie, because it definitely shifted my perception on like what these kind of movies represents. For sure. Yeah.
And Vixens played a role.
Also, amazing,
Play a role.
also amazing soundtrack. So
Yo,
Right,
that's a
right.
really good soundtrack, man. That's a really good soundtrack.
So we're gonna do
That's
a
Mother
quick
Chick.
round robin. What was your most memorable phrase out of the movie? Your most memorable phrase?
hell no.
Hell no. Okay, hell no.
No.
I may be black.
Yeah,
I may
yeah.
be
Oh,
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
may be black.
Go ahead, Nathaniel. Go ahead.
I may be ugly, but I'm here.
Yes, sir.
I may
Yes,
be
sir.
black.
But I'm here.
yeah.
I may be both. I may be.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I may be.
But I'm here.
Yeah, I'm about to you got the
He said
pause.
word for
I'm
word,
here.
bar for
But I'm
bar.
here.
It's all right.
I'm
Nathaniel.
here.
It's been
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
here.
week since we seen the movie. So yeah,
That's a powerful ass phrase. But I
That's what I'm
can't
saying.
relate to the
That's-
woman
that's
part, but I
on
can relate
that quote.
to the Paul part.
Right, but that's what I was
Yeah,
saying. Memorable
yeah.
phrase. That meant that that meant that you I mean, it's kind of just coming up for you. Right. I think the one for me, and as a black immigrant from South Africa, when I watched Medea, right, and I heard Medea use this in the movie, I didn't understand it until I went to see. You see, the color purple was all my life.
I know what that's from.
I never started.
I had to fight.
Yeah.
I reminds me of the thing when she was doing the curse thing with the fingers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's right. When she was.
Yeah, I saw the first movie and saw, okay, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg,
Yeah. All my life I had to fight.
Yeah.
Right. That
It's-
that was Sophia. That's what Sophia said. Right. I had to fight. This one. I had to fight that one. And I sure enough didn't plan to fight.
She had to fight her dad, her cousins, her
That's right.
uncles.
Does Sophia laughing count as a quote? When she started laughing,
Bro, that was the
she
most.
changed the movie.
At the table. At the table.
That was such a good moment because they
She
tried to break her that entire movie,
telling you,
but the
her
They ain't
moment she
breaking my girl,
laughed, it was
Sophia.
gone.
wild.
Those
her
chains,
laughing.
Yeah.
those chains.
Okay. What
were
was the
gone.
phrase? What was the phrase she
Yeah.
said? She
That
called
deserves a laugh.
him
Oh,
a sack
Oh yeah,
Oh,
sack.
of dead horse.
Oh, pig.
Horse.
Those horse? Oh,
Horse.
shit.
shit.
The moment she started laughing, them chains were ripped off. She was like, nah, this is funny.
She was back instantly cured. It
back
was
to
wild.
herself, back to her. Oh, it was good.
And then when all the women walked out, she said, "Ah, Sophia home now."
Yeah,
That's
Exactly.
another
Yeah.
phrase, right?
my favorite quote.
Best character had all the phrases. Had all the phrases. The fact that Hell knows the phrases, that just hurt. That was her whole Good song, by the way. Great
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
Amazing song.
Well, brothers, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was awesome. This was the first installment of Brothers Be Talking. So
Come on now.
this is a consequential year. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
This is a consequential year. So we're gonna create, a space and place for brothers to be talking about this and many, other subjects here on Faith Without Borders. And we hope that you will, join us, as we hold space for hope, as we hold space for healing, as we hold space to see how we can move, beyond brokenness and hopelessness, and lean, right, into beloved community. I mentioned beloved community because we are on the eve of celebrating, and commemorating, right, the life, legacy, and ministry of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., around that. So don't let it be a day off. Let it be a day on, because racism is still on us. Come on now, right? Discrimination is still on us, right? Exploitation is still on us. And basically, what we as brothers want to, say to you is, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are worthy of God living inside of you, right?
And we're here.
It doesn't matter, how you look, be here, right?
Yes.
Because you matter, and we want to give a big shout out, to Sanctuary of Hope for making it possible for us, to get together, and enjoy, what we enjoyed, and
We love you,
just
Miss Kelly.
facilitating the
Miss Kelly's
opportunity
MVP.
for us to gather, like this, as brothers, and to continue this work together. I'm your host, Pastor Kelvin Sauls. This has been Faith Without Borders.
Oh, before
Brothers Be Talking.
before Pastor Sauls, before we wrap it up, can I just say one more thing? Just
Yes.
to clear. When I was talking about the pedophilia and stuff, I was talking about like. I was talking about like from the 1950s.
Something
That happened like a long time ago. That's what I was talking about.
I gotta clear this up.
I was not talking about
Let
me.
him clear it up. Let him clear it up.
I was talking
While we
about
on air.
Yeah.
While we on air.
I was
Go
talking
ahead.
about like, women who were like young, like 16, 12, and like in the 1950s, the man who's taking advantage of her. I was not talking about me.
We know. Did you just remember that? Did you just
No, I just read. Oh fuck! I said.
Let me be clear.
That's been on his
Let me
mind
be
for way
clear.
too long.
I was talking about a whole lot of stuff.
That was a whole
Okay,
30
so-
minutes
At that
ago.
point, the
I'm
FBI
glad-
would have been at the door if they were.
All right. We're glad Dwayne got that out. Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like
We're
much
glad.
of like
had a
older
clear
generation like,
name.
hold on to like hate and stuff, even like
Right.
before it passed away. That's why I went.
He said, y'all not
So now
counseling
we
me
can
today.
say,
No, my first day.
All minds clear.
All right.
Now you got to
right,
redo
clear.
the whole entire closeout.
I'm not gonna do that.
What are you talking about? All right, cool.
Y'all see how much fun we're having. We're gonna do this again.
Oh, Lord.
So join us. Thanks so much. Keep the faith. Stay strong. Be well. And remember, soar in 2024. Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Yeah.
I know that's right.